evening, Jim.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, December 6th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And at this time, I call the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona to order. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call, please, Christie.
Commissioner Judy Bory. Here. Commissioner Terrell Moore.
Here.
Vice Chair Heather Muller.
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine.
Here.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow.
Here.
Commissioner Felicia Madrid. Here. Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Here. Consent agenda. The commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. These include acceptance of agenda and acceptance of minutes. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes for the November 1st, 2023 regular meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Felicia Madrid. Judy Bory.
Yes.
Terrell Moore.
Yes.
Heather Muller.
Yes.
D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. Information reports. At this time, we may announce information regarding activities involving park and recreation matters such as, but not limited to, attendance of commission members at community meetings or events, seminars, or conferences, or upcoming events or conferences. Anybody want to take the stage here?
I went to the
You all
holiday
look at
event.
me.
I went to the holiday event. I know you're supposed to be talking about November. When I drove by in the daytime, I saw the tree and I was like, oh, we got a refresh. And then when I went to the holiday event, I was like, oh, we got a new tree. I was like, totally missed that part. I'm like, I'm sure it was probably in our meeting or in the newspaper or something. I'm a slacker. Yep.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
Judy?
And I attended also the tree lighting, and oh my gosh, how gorgeous. You know, it was just beautiful. And I tried, of course, to video it as it would change colors, but it didn't do it justice, I'll tell you.
I got a good video of it changing
Oh.
colors, yeah, from with the mayor speaking, and then it was blank and lit up.
Oh, yeah, it was just gorgeous. So great job, you guys, just great job.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you guys really know how to put on an event.
Yes.
Oh, yes, because I went to the...
And that's from an elf who knows what she's talking
Exactly,
about.
exactly. I had my picture taken with Santa Claus. I walked in the parade. Oh my gosh, it was an awesome, awesome day. And of course, the senior center.
And weather.
That just goes without saying.
Senior Center, that's new. So I didn't get to go to the tree lighting ceremony, but I did make sure to go separately. And I was like, was this the same tree? Like, it just looks magical. I really like
you.
the red flowers that go with it. Kind of just all ties in together. And then I stopped by Flatiron just to kind of see how it turned out after the reseeding, and it looks really pretty too. And it's finally that weather that I'm like, yes, I can actually go to the parks and enjoy the weather. So I really like that tree. I'll probably stop by tonight too. It's just really pretty.
Lisa?
So me and my girls went to the holiday festivities, and my daughter even had to take a picture of the grass because it was so lush. She called it Grinch hair because it was like so lush.
Things we take for granted.
And at the MGC, like all the decorations are going up, so that's been really cute when I've been visiting there to work out. And but yeah, we did the tree lighting and the parade, and everything was really done well. We were excited also to see that the tree has changed. And we also visited one of our local businesses yesterday, and that tree just like it
Shines.
sticks out. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
I too went to the tree lighting event. Wow. It's really awesome to see how much we are doing, and as more civilians are coming out, it shows the amazingness that we're putting on. So, amazing.
I think we need longer curbs. Like, there was a lot of people.
There was.
A lot of people.
I agree, the turnout after
I
being.
mean,
there for so many years.
I walked that whole parade, and there were people in the street because they couldn't sit on a curb.
Yeah, it was like 4 people,
Yep.
like, or more in
Yep,
areas,
yep.
where usually it's like,
We gotta get
31st.
bleacher seats or something.
Well, that's excellent. I missed the tree lighting myself, but I went to the event and sat in a park and rec booth for a while. I had a pretty quiet November, but I did pick up in December. So it was good to see everybody here again and good to hear about all the involvement. So this time, let's go to the staff report. Liz, direct presentation and discussion on projects and opportunities.
Thank you, Chairman Shanebeck. So just have a few updates on parks and some of our spaces. Definitely wanted to mention, so yes, the Christmas tree was something that was budgeted for this year, and it was a touch and go whether or not we were going to have it like purchased in time, going through the process of purchasing something like that, and then if it was going to arrive on time, and then if once we got it, we were going to be able to get it, figure it out, and get it up. So definitely something a little bit different, and all the credit goes to Riley and Dave Butler. They definitely pushed to have something more exciting, music, and I definitely am hey, let's just have something that's going to turn on when we count down. And they really pushed to have something that was going to be more creative, and it was well within our budget. It was actually under budget.
Hey.
And they got the neat base that kind of protects that bottom part, or it will once we get the official one there. But it definitely was, we put it up a little earlier than normal, so that way the parks guys could kind of experiment with getting it set up and all that. So we definitely had lots of people noticing it, and definitely just appreciate the great staff who push us to do a little bit to go out of my comfort zone, because it definitely is worth it.
Yeah.
So that's that one. And then all of the trees got rewired. We did a lot of rewiring down there as well. So putting different lighting down there. We were having a lot of homeless individuals that were changing our light colors and things like that. So we've just moved to having commercial grade, strictly white lighting, in case you were wondering why we didn't do all the fancy things we did last year. Flatiron is white also. Okay. And then, yeah, the flowers are finally starting to come in nicely. So Dave did a little different of a design down there, and it's starting to look really nice. So the other item that we've been talking about for a while now, and this is definitely one of Chairman Shanebeck's big topic items, is our restrooms in our parks. And we are definitely making progress. It's definitely been a little bit of a work in progress. Prospector Park should be completely redone now. Flooring, all of the fixtures should be traded out and all that. The roofing was done last year, so everything should be up to speed there now. And then Flatiron, while we were closed for that little bit of time doing maintenance, our guys actually did in-house redoing the flooring, the countertops, a whole new paint job on the inside, and really refreshed everything, and it's a world of difference. I will make sure, they were working on trying to get me before and after photos that I can share with you guys, but Dave will be coming to the next meeting, and we'll let him kind of share some of our projects this year of the before and after photos on those. But restrooms are definitely improving. You know, our Silly Mountain restroom is still very much appreciated. That same style will be going in at Prospector. It will be on the north end where we've been wanting it for 20-some years now. And that one is on production. They expect to have that sometime in the spring, so we're really excited. Unfortunately, our restroom situation at Superstition Shadows Park has just been an ongoing battle of trying to get something built there. So we had a CXT coming there. We learned that because it is plumbed, even the company that sells them did not realize that they didn't have somebody that was licensed in the state of Arizona to install that version. So, or if they did have one, they're not here anymore. And so right now we have several general contractors trying to get licensed to be able to, by the state, to be able to install it. So that one is on hold again. And we will probably be seeing portable rented portable restroom trailer during the busy tennis and Little League season at Super Shadows again this year. So we're hopeful, though, that we can get it done in this fiscal year. We've bumped this money twice now, and it's part of a grant. So we had some that finally was really close to our budget amount, but it's just been a one nightmare after the next. So that's kind of the report on restrooms in general.
Nice.
And then we've all been anxiously awaiting the multi-gen center addition. I'm sorry, the Parks and Rec admin offices and storage addition, plus the fitness deck on top. So we finally just got word this week that our furniture is getting installed right now. We really weren't sure for sure when we'd be able to move all the pieces in, but we think that Friday we'll be able to start moving things over.
Nice.
And so I just want to invite any of you that want to just come and get a personal tour at some time, feel free to contact Christy, and she or I will take you over there, or once we're over there, you can come and look around. We will be doing an open house sometime in January when everything is installed, so we'll start gradually moving stuff over in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I would say that we're probably not truly there permanently until end of December, the beginning of January, but our move is happening so that way we can begin the process for auctioning of all of our other equipment and then the demo of the other 2 buildings. And that will be taking place in February. The very beginning of February, they should be getting demoed. The 2 buildings we're in.
Are we going to sell sledgehammer
I
blows with the
know.
old building?
If only OSHA, if only we would be allowed. We keep talking about that and CORE just ignores me when I ask about us taking a sledgehammer.
It could be a fundraiser,
Yeah,
everybody gets a piece.
so I was told that liability-wise, nobody will be allowed to help with the demo, unfortunately. We might be able to do some photo opportunities of pretending like we are, but
We can sign waivers.
yeah, there you go. And then I kind of alluded to this with the restrooms, but Flatiron, just wanted to report back to everybody, we haven't met since Flatiron reopened. We feel that that closure was very successful. So I don't know if you've been driving by recently. I try to drive by a few times a day. Number one, we got a lot accomplished. So most of the Flatiron mural was able to be finished. We still have another phase of that going to be happening. The grass looks as good as grass, depends on weather and all that, but it looks great. We were able to do a whole lot of weeding. We completely gutted the wash that had a lot of just debris that was being left behind by some of our transient population, and then all the brush from the summer, and then all the restroom improvements that we did. So we got a lot accomplished. And additionally, when we reopened, we think we're having a lot more compliance with the rules that we had put into place and all of our code of conduct things that we were doing. You know, we're getting a few people there here and there, but by and large, people are following the rules that we've put in place. Our rangers are really trying to stay up on it. But they feel like it's been, very successful and that we're happy with how things are going. Now, we also know that we have a lot of events and activities going on out there, and it's cooler out. But we think it was a pretty good maintenance period that has definitely addressed some of the issues we were having. So, and then that concludes my report, unless you have any questions on the things I've shared.
I had a question. When will we hear another update on the Superstition Shadows restroom, since it's been going back and forth?
Probably when we know. Right now, what we know is what's happening this year between now and May or so. So we won't know until, as soon as we have an update, we'll definitely share with this group.
Yeah, okay.
I have something.
Yeah.
For the next phase for the painting, is that something that like you have projected, like, ooh, we're gonna do something on Earth Day?
No, so typically we do it for Make a Difference Day, and it's part of one of our projects, so that'll be the 4th phase. Josh is looking at trying to fill in a few of the areas, but our artist, Josh Underwood, but it'll just be continuing kind of the theme that's there. I would imagine that the final phases will be done with, that are done with other folks, will be done during Make a Difference Day next year in October.
Nice.
So with the grass being as immaculate as it is now, and the compliments that we're getting, are we doing that on an annual basis, or?
We always do. So Flatiron is done on an annual basis. There's only, I think, 1 year a while back ago where we weren't able to do it due to flooding and things like that. But yeah, so that is one of the facilities that we overseed, so every year. The difference is that this year we closed it, so that way we wouldn't have people walking on it or leaving all their stuff on it and things like that, which was a little bit hadn't been a major problem in past years, but this year it was. And so that's the only different thing that we did this year.
You know, a
Yeah.
big difference.
And so we've had rain, so again, just keep in mind that we will do lots of things the same every single year. It depends on how soon it gets weather or rain, how long it stays warm
Right.
in order for it to germinate. And all those things factor into it, and there could be a year we do everything exactly right, and if we don't have the right weather, it just doesn't pop, and it doesn't do the things that it needs to do, so. But yeah, we're super happy about this year.
I wanted to comment too on the Silly Mountain bathrooms. They look great, and the Ramada, I'm a regular user, and
Nice.
I'm super thankful to have it there before and after hikes, and especially with kids. So nice and convenient, and yeah.
All right.
Okay, so, good evening.
Good evening.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, because I might not see some of you until January. But I'm going to start with a little video, if I can get it to work. Maybe. Control click. I'm doing those things. Hold on. Please hold.
The link ain't-
It's not letting it edit.
Mm. Right, the link itself.
Not yet. So, the holiday event just happened, and it sounds like most of you were there in some way, shape, form, or another. So, we were very pleased with the turnout. We had more people than last year, because nobody was there last year. So, we're very excited for the turnout. I think that this was one of our highest attended years, even prior to COVID. The weather was very cooperative with us. We do want to find a better way to be able to, that event doesn't have a single point entry or exit, so it's very hard to count how many people are there at any given time. But we know that it was a lot of people. Usually that event doesn't get busy till about 5 o'clock and then it's a slow trickle, and then it's like mass people at 6 because they're all getting there right before the tree lighting ceremony. This year it was slow to start between 3 and 4, but then from 4 o'clock on it was super busy. We did not have snow this year. I don't know if anybody noticed. Again, last year we didn't have it wasn't COVID. The weather canceled it, but we weren't planning to have snow last year either. The snow is super expensive, and we thought it would be better to use our resources in other places. It's okay. We'll post it on Facebook. Can you though open up the folder and then just show the regular slideshow?
I didn't hear any complaints about lack of snow.
We had a few that knew, and they know who to complain to, and that's okay. I get it. The snow used to be a huge draw. Snow in Apache Junction, and kids, it was their first time ever getting to play in it and participate in it. So I absolutely understand the disappointment of not having it. But again, I also think our resources are better utilized. And the snow pit took a lot of our staff because snow doesn't stay snow in Arizona, especially on a warm day like Saturday was. It would quickly turn to ice. And so we spend a lot of time breaking it up. And then also breaking up the kids who want to throw ice at each other. So, so we understand that disappointment. But we did replace it with our Winter Wonderland, our craft shop, which was the big tent full of crafts for kids to make. We need to fine tune that because they would come in and make all the crafts and then do a double, to take some back home. So we've got some ideas to manage that. But overall, super impressed. We had 32 entries in the parade, so we had 5 more entries than the previous year. So it took 30 minutes for the first parade once they crossed until they finished. And so, but most people stay for the second half also. So it was about an hour from when the first one went through the crossover line to when the very last one finished. So I wanted to start with that because that was our big event. And now we're all kind of But we do have, next Saturday, we have a movie, we have Grinch, so the kids can come and feel the Grinch grass. We have our Jingle Bowl, which is adult football, flag football tournament out at Prospector Park. We have pictures with Santa Claus at the dog park. So if you have dogs and you want to come get a picture, but if they don't like people, don't bring them to Santa, because we really like Santa and we want him to come back. So, and then you mentioned Silly Mountain. Starting next Friday, the elves have let us know that they will be back in town, and they're going to be hanging out at Silly Mountain for a couple of weeks. So we're going to be encouraging our families to go out and see how many elves they can spy out at Silly Mountain. And then we will also have winter camp at the Multi-Gen Center during the fall break, or during the winter break that the schools are out. So we'll have all kinds of fun activities. That one is a really fun one. Winter gives us a lot of great opportunities to play outdoors at the park right out there, do a ton of crafting and games. And so it's a great adventure for the kids if they don't have anything fun to do while they're, on break. But November was a super busy month for us, and I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff really fast, but it's all important because I just want you guys to know how busy and how hard our staff are out there working for the community. I know you guys know that, but if anybody ever doubts that, you will have all kinds of information to throw at them. But we partnered with the library to do a story walk. We did this at night. Our seniors did a Veterans Day celebration. They offered some new art classes during the fall. And then Al Bravo visited from the city to give our seniors updates on city improvements. Our Youth Advisory Council was given a tour of City Hall, and that was really cool. And we're currently working with the possibility of partnering with CAC as they are creating a leadership program that maybe there's an opportunity for us to partner and create some mentorships between those two programs.
Nice.
We had 25 participants in our parent-taught football. We maxed at 20, but they're little, so we took 25. We had our 10th annual pickleball tournament. It was sold out, but however, we only got one day off because it did rain. We finally got rain. Not going to say that that's the day I would have chosen to have it on, but at least it was for pickleball with a small amount of people and not 10,000 people trying to watch a parade, so we'll take it. We also had our cornhole tournament at the FOTS event, which we had 5 teams compete. We had golf, adult golf, and we had our archery programs ran through November. We had Super Mario Brothers at the park. We had 125 movie watchers. So when people say it's too cold to have movies, they love that cold weather to come out. We did have a concert in the park. And then one of the highlights this month in November was our S'mores and Stories. So Elliot started off with this idea to bring some folks out to Silly Mountain, have a couple of hobo fires and roast some s'mores. We partnered with the library. They came out, they read some stories. They thought we would have a casual 50 to 60. Well, we kind of got a gut feeling that we were going to have more than that. We ended up with close to 200 people coming out. And I mean, we had somebody that was all the way from, Arizona? Wow. I was just like, okay, well, that's awesome that you came all of this way, but why? But, So it was a wonderful event. We're going to possibly think about actually having to move it to the rodeo grounds, but we're okay with that. Lots of space out there for that to grow. We did start Dogs in the Desert hikes. We had 2 of those in November. We did have those were small groups as they're intended to be. We had anywhere from 8 to 12 participants. And we really got to give some good information on Silly Mountain and the trails and, that we do have dog friendly where you can bring them on the leash. We had lots of special interest classes, crafting, cooking, jewelry making, skateboarding, guitar lessons. And then one other thing I forgot to mention coming up in December, Riley's been working with our police department to host Shop with a Cop. So they will be taking 50 kids up to Walmart. They'll be shopping with an officer, and then they will be starting or ending at the Multi-Genset, both. So the MGC will be hosting it, and Riley's been working on making it very festive and bringing in some Santa Claus and some superheroes and good stuff. So that's also coming up. So like I said, we have a lot going on. I know you guys hear it every month, but I think it's important for me to showcase all the good work that our staff are doing. And we are working on new programs and new adventures for the spring, so I'll bring some of that in January. At this time, this concludes my report, unless you have any questions.
Another fine month.
So I'm assuming for the s'mores, did you guys have enough for everyone, or you had to go to the store?
Oh, no, we had enough.
Oh, nice.
And I was prepared to go back to get more. I mean, we knew that that was the most important part of that event, so we did have plenty. Good.
Fine.
Yes, I wasn't able to attend with my girls, but they did go.
They
and-
did, I saw them.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they had such a good time. We had on the calendar as soon as it came up, and we were all looking forward to it. I unfortunately, like I said, wasn't there. But yeah, they reported that they had so much fun,
Good.
so.
Yeah, look,
Okay.
that calendar just looked, wow. Wow.
Oh, and,
Go ahead.
and they also, before the holiday event, they said they were looking forward to the lamppost snow. They mentioned it on their own, and then I saw like groups of kids gathering around playing in it. So although there wasn't real snow, I think that that is an alternative that's a big hit.
And that was our alternative thinking. So the first year, we bought the 2 lamp posts, and we were going to put them kind of throughout the event. And then this past year, we added the snowmen that were on the stage that blew snow. And again, those are things we get to buy and we get to keep. And the only thing that we have to buy each year is the snow solution. So for us, that's a much wiser investment, because we will have those things year after year, and we can expand on those if we want to, so.
All right. Thank you, Jamie.
Great job.
Let's go to old business, discussion update on current construction and future plans for public parks in the Superstition Vistas Master Plan communities. Liz?
All right. So while I'm sure nobody wants to drive down Ironwood if they don't have to, between Baseline and Ray, I would highly encourage you to do it at some point in time, maybe early in the morning. Go only 25 miles per hour. Do not go whatever those are called, a mile per hour or more. I almost said one more second over, and it's like, that's not it.
It's December, it's
But
okay.
they are being very cautious on that road, because there is a lot of turnoffs for construction and things like that. But on the Brookfield side, which is where our parks are going to be, this little stretch right here along Ironwood, you can now start to see the sidewalks and everything that's going to be part of Ironwood Linear Park, which is really, it's going to run adjacent to Ironwood the whole length of the development in the end from Ray to Elliott. So you can start seeing that take shape. You can't really get down to the rest of the park, and I didn't get to have a tour today when I was there for our construction meeting, but next week we're going to take a look, because there's a lot more things taking shape. Hopefully we'll have a new flyover that we can share with you next meeting. Their goal is still for this current part of the construction to be open sometime in April. So I'd say like end of April is what I would guess, if they do, when they open up their model homes for this area. So just as a reminder, they're starting on this end. So this is the Ray Road alignment, and they already have that part of the road built. And so then whenever you come into the other major arterial is Blossom Rock Trail, and on this side is our lake and a bunch of other amenities, and on this side is the dog park. So I'm just gonna, so that you kind of have a reference of where we're at. I think this is a PDF, so I just gotta move it. Yeah. Let's see here. This is probably the easiest one. Keep forgetting I'm in a PDF, not a PowerPoint. So this section here is where this is the left side of that spine road. And so the lake, and I've shared this before, a big adventure playground, but you can kind of, right now they've got a lot of that starting to take shape. We did learn that they had to cut out a few things, and they have some things just waiting for phase 2. So everything in blue is what they're building right now, and that's what will be open to the public. It is a public park. It's not just an HOA park. The part in pink is what they'll be working on next, and so they won't open up their clubhouse and their pool until second phase, which is probably like next year, maybe around that same time. Let's see if I can get to the dog park easily. I learned a lot about so then you can't really tell on this photo because this is a little bit more conceptual, but this side of the park, and so it's Painted Sky Park is the name of it. It will have 3 separate fenced dog park areas. And the really neat thing about this dog park is there's a lot of play features. So there's there's hills in this one. It has tunnels.
Wow.
So it's not just like like the one we have, which is awesome in itself, but there'll be a lot of play features and other things for the dogs to do. Jamie and Dave and I will be meeting with the Cohere staff who will end up, they're the property management company that will handle the association, and they'll be our big partner in events that are going on down there, as well as, agreeing on some of our jointly used facilities, how we're going to do Ramada reservations, things like that. Our plan is to have this park just like the one out here, where one of these nodes would be a reserved only, but it is a little different. So we'll have to look at that once we learn a little bit more about the dog park itself. So very cool. Go ahead.
Liz, is it set up like an obstacle course for the dogs, or is it
It's just more like
free-flowing?
within this open space, there's a ton of features, like play features for them. So I wouldn't call it like, it's not features that are like little, portable slides, and it's more like there's big old tunnels in the dirt and big, like as if you were in a construction, or not construction, but a pipe, and that is designed for a dog park, and they can run through that to the other side.
And those are good training things, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, they'll be able to use a lot of the things for training, but I'm hoping that we can have like a rendering of what that's going to look like, and if nothing else, we'll be able to get some pictures here soon. There's a lot of ramadas and other things here. I think there's a smaller playground in this area. And then this connects to Ridgeline Trail, or Ridgeline Linear Park. And I know I shared this with you guys last time. I just want to reiterate where they're at. So right now we can see a lot of this taking shape. This will be open in phase 1. And so this is the trail connectivity that's in the middle of the park. And so the goal really for this property owner or developer is that there's a ton of connectivity, that there's trails that connect all the parks. There's, the 3 major parks, and then there'll be a lot of smaller parks throughout. So I'm just going to go back to that original, whoops, went too far, drawing. And so keeping in mind that this is the, this is just the Brookfield side of things. D.R. Horton is on this side of the road. And so we did have a meeting. So this is what current construction is this one district park down here, and then the 2 linear parks. And then these are all private parks, HOA parks that the residents can use. So that's what's going on right now at Brookfield. D.R. Horton, again, does not have anything public yet on their side until the very final phases. So their public portion is here at the top at the north end. And then we are starting to have communication with Brookfield about what's going to be going on in the Central District Park. We are, the market is changing for them pretty quickly, housing prices, those kinds of things. They obviously have a lot of increased pricing and things like that as well. So, they're trying to manage all of that and manage expectations. We know there's going to be a major lake there. We are about 95% sure that there will be a significant amount of pickleball courts there. They plan on there being 55 plus community, a small community within this. Most of this area is designated for families and, single living or whatever, but there is a 55 plus community nearby, somewhere in here. I'm not sure where. So pickleball will be there. I'm sure there'll be some other playgrounds and ramadas, but it'll be a lot more largely passive besides the pickleball courts.
Do we know how many people have moved in so far?
Nobody's moved into this site so
Oh.
far because they will start selling model homes at the same time that they open up. The park is
Oh,
kind of part of their
I thought I
attraction.
read somewhere that they were getting.
On the DR Horton side, there are over here. I don't know the total number. I think there was a recent article though, and we can certainly share that might have mentioned. Do you remember that article I sent you if it said how many?
I think it was a couple hundred already that they've already
Wow.
resold.
For sure, right.
So
I think
that's
it's,
on Horton's side. Gotcha.
so we did, the city manager's office did set up a meeting with both the, kind of the higher ups of DR Horton and Brookfield for us to sit down. We've never really had a true master plan of what's gonna happen here as parks, and we kind of need to know now. So we're learning that there is not currently planned an aquatic center where swimming lessons are offered. Their pools are gonna be more passive use pools. And so there's things that we know that when we grow and have 30,000 more people, even 10,000 or 20,000 more people, depending on, the ages of those groups, what are the things we're gonna need? And potentially, we will grow out of our aquatic center in the next few years, if that's the case. We know eventually we're gonna need more sports fields. And so it's just time now that before we get to the very end and they say, oh yeah, we didn't plan that for this, we need them to come together because they're doing two very separate projects. They want to make money and they want to do what's right for themselves, which is totally understandable. But they were super responsive. At this meeting, we kind of shared what some of our needs and concerns are, as well as that we have things that in our strategic plan were identified by the community as needs.
Right.
A major splash pad, not the smaller types that are like at Flatiron. And then, like I said, if we grow another aquatic center, sports field, some of the other things that we might need. So that was a very productive meeting. DR Horton has basically said they'll be coming to us and saying, what do you want in your space? And we'll be talking about it. I don't know whether we're helping to pay for it though, whether they are, you know what I mean? So they've dedicated the space. It will be ours. It's already set aside for us, so we don't have to pay for the land. I don't know what that whole agreement part is. But everything here is being built right now on the the Brookfield side, by the developer in advance, and then it's being paid for by the Community Facilities District, which is paid for through the property owners, their taxes and stuff, very similar to how Eastmark is done to the east side. So our residents are not paying for the development of these parks, but we are gonna get to enjoy it, and then the city will be paying for the cost to maintain. Please keep remembering, we are not physically maintaining it. Our parks team, so the association will maintain all of it, and we will pay our proportionate share of that. And we have a max amount. That's the maintenance agreement that we had shared quite a while back ago. But that's going to save us on having to purchase fleet equipment, having space over there right away. We'll be able to learn a little bit more before we start deciding, the other staff needs that we will have.
So our maintenance will involve only money, not manpower and
For the
equipment.
most part, yes. We're still we'll be narrowing down some of the things like, janitorial services. Do they consider that maintenance? We do. And so we hope that that's all kind of included. Our park rangers, though, will be monitoring these parks. Our recreation staff will be programming in these parks. We will be reserving ramadas and things like that like we do in other areas. So we still are going to have a lot of staff in these areas doing different things. So that's where we're at. That's our latest update and the latest that I know on this. So we'll definitely be sharing with you because as we get closer to April, we'll definitely want you involved in the ribbon cutting at the park and all that. Jamie and her staff will be involved in a lot of that as we get closer.
Okay, thank you, Liz. That's pretty exciting stuff down there. Okay, moving on to new business, we're gonna switch these two around and do the presentation and discussion on progress of the rodeo grounds master plan update.
Thank you. Yes. So we, since we met last, we did have our stakeholders meeting with a lot of our event planners that already host events out there. So obviously the Lost Dutchman Days Committee, I just lost my entire train of thought. Our Driving Carriage Society, they're this weekend actually. They have a great event that's out there every year. So those individuals came. Superstition Horsemen's Association, all of our equestrian groups that have worked with us, have done rentals out there, have done major events. All of them were invited, as well as the chamber, Superstition Fire and Medical District, so that they could weigh in on what are some of the needs for major events. And so J2, they led that effort for us. They took all that feedback from them. They went through a really great exercise to identify their desires and their needs and some of the facts of their events, and to really start laying out where things kind of make sense for them. Because as we move forward, you know, we've been talking about this event, we purchased this so we could have more events, and we don't want any one event to kind of prevent us from being able to do other things. So J2's fantastic task will be to gather all of the ideas and then make sure that we can fit all those things in here. As a reminder, the program area is this. This rectangle right here is the 20 acres. This is a conceptual master plan, so they're not getting into the nitty-gritty, but they will be putting blobs on they will be putting stuff on the map of what we want to have. And then they will also be looking at this surrounding area, because we can still use it for parking. We can still use it for non-profit purposes. So we might have some other, you know, practice arenas out here, or, you know, our archers are currently right now, the archery group that we have out here, they're currently operating out of here. So we'll definitely be, you know, plopping down a few things, but for attracting events, for our concerts, things like that, that all has to happen right in here. A couple of the biggest priorities that were identified, just so that you're aware. I felt like it was surprising that they were not, so it took a while to get them to understand. So there's a lot of folks who have been doing events for a very long time. And so they feel that things are wonderful just the way it is. And that they like being able to do what they, and the way that they've done it. And I totally get that. We don't like changing our events either, although we have. So it took a little while to get them to really start thinking more big picture of what could they be doing, and what, you know, it was kind of like, well, we only need this little something or another. And then we really want them to be looking big. And so some of the biggest item, I would say the most number one thing that people mentioned was covered areas. So instead of having this portable tent that we only put up once a year or twice a year, having a permanent Ramada covered area so that we could have, and then we could also have weddings and smaller scale concerts, and then they could be used, that could be used by every event. So that was a major thing. Electricity, water throughout. So right now, those things only come to this space right here. We can't really, and then there's very limited electrical outlets and things. So unfortunately, some of the things that we need are the infrastructure items that will not be super exciting, and they will probably cost the most amount of money. But having better ADA access from our parking lots, being able to get to different areas. They had definitely bleachers. More seating was something that was really desired. We are talking about a permanent structure that would serve as both something that the event planners can utilize for check-in or for registration or things they want, but also will serve as our sort of office, show office that'll be out there, as well as the maintenance portion. We expect to be doing a whole lot more out there, so our maintenance staff are definitely weighing in on where will we store, you know, the things that are utilized there, our tractors and our groomers and all that kind of thing. Riley and Jamie, can you think of anything else that I mentioned that they all identified? I think we got them to agree that there's probably needs to be some, so we have some drainage problems. We have a wash that runs through here. It really makes it challenging during Lost Dutchman days, because almost every year it rains at some point, and then that makes it hard for vendors. Everybody needs some open space. So again, Lost Dutchman days needs open space for the carnival. The Driving Carriage Association, I know I'm saying it wrong, but they put all their obstacles out. They want big open spaces. The tractor show needs big open spaces. So it was good to just kind of hear that we're going to need, and then if we want to have an open concert and we want to have a stage somewhere down on this end, you know, we want to have open seating and those kinds of things at some point. So there are a lot of similarities. I think it was a really productive meeting. Kurt Monti with J2, he'll be coming back to just staff next week with basically a couple of concepts based on what they're, of what the feedback that we got. And then we'll have an opportunity to share with them, you know, what what we need also and what we like and what we think is going to be some of the good ideas. So we'll have a couple of concepts. And then once we see that first stab, then we'll be talking with city management about how do they want to go. Is there really only one plan? And it's really just prioritizing the amenities? Are we going to have J2 come and present here and then go and present at commission? Or are we just going to keep bringing those things here and make sure J2 incorporates it? Because we are on a little bit of a time crunch. We would really like to get some good numbers for budget for next year, because we do want to have the first, and we want to start some of the design this year because we have money set aside for design this year. So we'll be knowing a little bit more about that. But with that, I just want to open it up to your guys' questions. Those of you who have been out there, anything that you think we need or that you have concerns about, we'll make sure that that's getting shared in our initial meetings.
I think everything you listed is terrific suggestions. This is so exciting. This is just going to be huge.
Is there enough power to the site to,
Not currently. So that is a definite number one need, is getting more power to the site.
is it available? I mean, is it?
Yeah, so we do have panels already there. I mean, it will probably be costly to bring, more transformers and more things like that, but it's definitely a major need.
Doable.
Will we be able to use solar?
I'm sure we will. We did solar at the dog park. I'm sure we'll explore some of those options there as well, but that's not really helpful for like the vendors. And so again, maybe for lighting the Ramada and some of those areas, but the vendors, those folks are needing high powered amounts. We're looking at bringing in cell towers and some other things for some of the major, we had no cell service last year during Lost Dutchman Days. Not for emergency people, not for any of us to communicate when we were having problems on the roads, because there were so many people, it overran what was out there. And so this year, we've been working with our IT department, the police department, they've been reaching out, but some of those things have to plug into so then we learn they need their own dedicated 200 amp service. And so it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, they'll bring a generator. It's not the end of the world, but there's a lot of true electrical needs. If we are truly going to have bands, there absolutely has to be way better. They're not going to bring all of that. We don't want to rely on generators. That's a living nightmare. Our goal is to have weddings and other events out and have it be a dedicated venue. And so we definitely want to make sure that we have some of those features there. So yes, but absolutely, I'm sure we'll be looking at some solar options for different things.
I think flexibility is a real key. Like you said, you want to keep the open spaces, and yet there's times where you want cover over those open spaces.
Flexibility.
And rather than permanent structures, something we can take down and move if we have to, and depending on size. Pretty exciting. It's like a blank canvas we've been given.
Yeah.
Is there a permanent stage or anything like that right
Nope,
now?
not
There's
currently
no
there is.
stage?
That's
Okay.
definitely something that
And-
we have on our list to have, but yeah,
Damp
definitely
floor,
looking at it. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I know, each year at Lost Dutchman Days, there's always a band and.
And keep in mind that, so this is also part of that prioritization. So there might be some things we can easily do early on that will make it, bring in more events right away.
Right.
And others where we can bring out our stage for some of those and have it in a location. But, so right now, anything you go out there and you think we need, this is a time just to put it on paper, because it just gets on the list of what's going to be happening. Are there any other suggestions or questions?
Are there, I don't know if there's like rules or requirements in regards to how many bathrooms you're supposed to have?
Yeah.
Okay.
that was
Yep,
the
so
other
currently,
question.
so Riley will look at what the standard is, and when an event planner is coming to do an event, depending on their people, then she'll tell them how many more porta-johns.
Okay.
So we have
Right.
pretty extensive restrooms for most everything that happens out there. They're sufficient. But Lost Dutchman Days, they bring in a ton of porta-johns, and they'll supplement with that. So that is definitely something people have asked about. And again, we'll prioritize whether or not we have enough events that need more, like that's expensive, or is it better just the 2 or 3 times a year to bring in porta-johns and things like that?
Yeah.
So,
And carnivals, sometimes there's just not enough room elsewhere to do carnivals and stuff. This is going to be great. Yep.
All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to election of Parks and Recreation Commission chairperson, and vice chairperson. Very specific procedure here.
Very.
To begin with, I will call for a motion to open nominations for the position of chairperson.
I move that we open the nominations for the chairperson.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call to open nominations, please?
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Heather Muller,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
and Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. May I get a nomination for the position of chairperson?
I nominate Heather I'm gonna mess up your name, Mueller, for chairperson. I got so excited for you, I couldn't say your last name.
It's me.
Thank you. May I get a nomination for the position of chairperson? May I get a
Oh.
Can I go ahead?
I'm sorry. Just to be clear, this is for a different nomination or
This is still for chairperson.
Yep, and it's fine. We'll ask any questions you want. This is pretty informal. So we have to say it 3 more times. So, yeah, when he says it this time, if somebody else wants to nominate someone, just say, yep, Chairman, I want to nominate so-and-so.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay. All right, so I will start over again with the first time. May I get a nomination for the position of chairperson? May I get a nomination for the position of chairperson? Any other nominations for chairperson? I call for a motion to close nominations for the position of chairperson.
I move that the nominations for chairperson be closed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote to close the nominations, please?
Yes, Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Heather Muller,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. Okay. Now I'd like a motion to approve the first person nominated for chair.
I move that Heather Mueller be approved for chairperson.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. May I have a roll call, please, to approve Heather Muller for chair?
Heather Muller,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. So do I finish this off before Heather takes
Yep.
over? Okay.
You'll finish this agenda item.
All right. So, at this point, I call for a motion to open nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I move that we open the nominations for the vice chairperson.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. May I have a roll call vote to open nominations, please?
Yes, Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Heather Muller,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. May I get a nomination for the position of vice chairperson?
I nominate Chair Bigelow for vice chairperson.
Thank you. May I get a nomination for the position of vice chair?
I nominate DL Kine for vice chairperson.
Thank you. May I get a nomination for the position of vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? I call for a motion to close nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I move that the nominations for vice chairperson be closed.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
May I have a roll call vote to close the nominations, please?
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Heather Muller,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes. I call for a motion to approve the first nominee, Cheryl Bigelow, for the position of vice chairperson.
Mr. Chair, I move that Chair Bigelow be approved for vice chairperson.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote to approve Cheryl Bigelow as vice chair?
Heather Muller,
No.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
No.
Frank Schoenbeck.
Yes.
Am I supposed to?
Yes, you have to vote. Everybody votes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
I missed somebody on my, so it's 5-2? Okay, the motion passes 5-2.
Okay, well, in that case, congratulations, Cheryl. Next, your D. And at this point, here you go, Heather.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations to both of you.
All right, so moving right along, call to public, and it looks like there's no public. I guess I don't have to read that, dang. All right, we're gonna call for future agenda items. Do I also read that or no?
Nope, you can just
Okay.
ask for it.
Anyone have any future agenda items you would like to?
Are we going to meet in January?
So I think we will try to meet in January because of our timeline for the J2 information. If I find out that they're not going to be ready, there wasn't anything else that I said was, I think that was the main reason. So if we find out, so let's just plan it. But if not, we'll cancel it if we don't have that major agenda item. It is close. It's going to be the week of
Okay.
New Year's,
Yeah.
so.
Anyone else?
So I will just say then that for sure the rodeo grounds, and we'll have other things if we need to, but the rodeo grounds is the main agenda item that we'll be trying to bring back in January.
All right. So the selection of meeting dates, times, location, and purpose.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on January 3rd, 2024. That sounds weird. 2024 at 6 PM in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
Do I have a second?
You have a second?
And then roll call vote. Thank you.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Heather Moeller,
Yes.
DL Kine,
Yes.
Frank Schoenbeck.
Yes. Slam it down or out of here.
Well, all right then. We're gonna do adjournment at 6:58.
Nice, good job.
Gym time.
Woo-hoo.